right, we are live, and we'll go live on Amazon. Unfortunately, this is not yet available on Amazon at this very moment, although it's possible it could be. So I'm going to link, wait for the thing to go live here. So I'm going to link up some other Elgato products on Amazon while we take this thing out of the box. And this is a new premium webcam from Elgato. And in full disclosure, they sent this to the channel free of charge for me to review. So we will be playing around with this a little bit. And yeah, it's going to be a fun live stream today. And we're not going to go for that long because my family's coming home in a little bit, and I am sure that I will be expected to cook dinner. So, you know, whenever the wife gets home is when we're terminating, if you will. I will be terminated. Hang on, let me just pull up my lower thirds here because I have some people that are popping in to say hello. So we're going to acknowledge our friends before we get going here. And I also have to, I loaded up the wrong profile on vMix, which is what I usually use to stream with. And I have to find my thanks for watching thing for the end of the stream. And give me 1 second and I will pull that up. But yeah, I'm having a good day today. I was doing a lot of catch-up work today because I was ahead of the game for once in my life. So I've had a very good, productive week. And it's not over yet. But tomorrow I got to bring my car in. So I wanted to get as much stuff ready so that in case the car takes a while tomorrow, I can not lose any productive time. So that is kind of the scoop here. So give me 1 more second here, folks. I just have to go find this image, and then we'll get going there. Nando Wears Prada on Amazon. Happy Thriller Thursday. Happy Thriller Thursday to you. It is a thrilling day today because I always love when I get new gadgets in. I got some more stuff that came in today, too. I got a couple new gaming things to look at, so I'm excited about that. The Red Hornet is here. It looks like Amazon might have just pushed out the notification to everybody, so hello, everyone. I know a lot of people didn't even know about all this Amazon streaming stuff until recently, so I'm glad you all enjoyed that. And I apologize for the delay here. I'm just trying to get one last thing dialed in, and then we can get started here, so apologize for that. But I'm going to unbox this, and I'm actually in the middle of recording an unboxing video that I'm going to put up tonight on the Extras channel. And I'm still debating whether or not to post a video tonight. I got to see how, there we go, now I got my image up. I got to see how my current video is doing with the real-time stuff, and then we'll figure it out from there. Okay, so let me go, first of all, acknowledge some friends that have popped in. So let me find my vMix social. I've got my gaming laptop out on the desk today because this is what we're going to hook it up to. I figured I would use a computer that I typically do live streaming with and install the drivers and all that good stuff. So we will, actually, there's no drivers necessary, I apologize. So you don't need a driver for this. This is going to work out of the box. It's UVC compatible, but they've got configuration software so you can manually configure everything. And what you can do with this is set your settings and then save it to the flash memory of the camera. So I thought that was kind of neat, right? And so if you move it to another machine or you don't want software running in the background on your streaming computer, you can save all the settings to the camera and it locks in as the new default. So I liked that. At least that's how they described it. I haven't actually done it yet, but we will take a look at it in a minute. Red Hornet says that Elgato is streaming right now. Yeah, so they had an embargo time on this. So the embargo lifted at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time when their stream started. And so what I like to do with this stuff, because what happens is they send out a lot of these to a lot of creators at the same time. And if I do a review and post it at the same time everybody else does, it gets lost. So I usually take a little bit longer with it. And I thought it might be fun to do my first evaluation of it while we're live streaming here. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to start sending some hellos out from our friends here. So we've got Travis Rhodes is here. And I'll give you a nice look at that box while we go. William Wilkinson is here. It's good to see all the regulars popping in. Romeric is here. Hello there. Connor is here. And Eric's Variety Channel is here. Everybody's here. Great. I'm glad everybody's popping in. George is here. Robert Branch is here. Me B Pro is here. Joe Tyson is here. Donald Newman is here. Recipe Bob is here. Salute Tech Reviews is here. Mark Smith is at the library again. No sound. Keeping it quiet. We got to get you some headphones. We will have a Mark Smith headphone fundraiser. Ed Horn is here. Yeah, smash those thumbs up buttons. Absolutely. Milos is here. And Eric just recovered from a sneezing fit. What did I miss? Nothing much yet. But now we're going to get into the unboxing part of the video today. So let me start recording. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's take this thing out of the box and see what is inside. This is a premium device. It's got a hefty price tag versus some of the other webcams that are out there. But this does operate at 1080p 60, and it has a driverless interface to the computer. So once you plug it in, it'll pick it up. They do have some software that I'm going to demo in the full review, and that software allows you to set the camera manually, and it's got flash memory inside so that you can carry those settings with you when you disconnect the camera and go to another computer. So once you set it up, you can lock it in so it remembers it forever. So here it is, kind of big, but it's got a larger sensor on board. It's got a Sony sensor. They made their own lens on this thing, and it's got a nice mount here so you can mount it onto your display. And there's apparently also a way that you can mount it to a tripod. So it looks like you can pull off the mount here and then just put it directly on a tripod or other kind of mount if you prefer that. But what we're going to do today, or at least as I start playing with it, is get it attached to my gaming laptop here that I use for remote production. So we'll see how it works. There is a sweet spot for focus on this, and I'll cover the distances when we do the full review. So here's the camera. It looks very nice. Definitely hefty, and it's got a USB Type-C port here on the back. And then we've got some cables in here, and you got to give these folks credit. They always package their stuff very nicely. It's got a decent length to the cable. Now, this is a camera that is not compressing or processing the video data when it sends it back. And a lot of webcams operate on USB 2 speeds, which is 480 megabits per second. This one, because it is sending uncompressed video, requires more bandwidth, so it needs to connect to a USB 3 port. Typically, but not all the time, your USB 3 port will be blue in color on your computer, and you can, of course, also disconnect a USB-C to USB-C cable. And if you've got like Thunderbolt ports on your computer, that's probably the best port to connect it to, because those are high-speed ports that are kind of wired into the bus there, and that'll get you really good performance. But you really should plan on plugging this in directly to your computer and not using a hub or something where you might be sharing bandwidth. Again, nice long cable here, so you've got plenty of room to get it positioned where you need it to go. And we'll just plug it in here and get it booted up. So let me get this thing set up, and we'll see what its image quality looks like when we first plug it in. All right, that was good. And Mark is wondering, do I have a small tripod? I do have a small tripod somewhere. I'll have to see if I can find that. And right now, the computer is setting it up. I think we're good there. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my NDI software. So that will, and actually I think what I'm going to do is have the camera itself go over the network into my video system. I think that's how I'm going to do this. But let's get the camera on first and just see what it looks like. And we'll get it just kind of positioned here. There we go. Okay, so I've got it up on my thing here, and let me just pull up the camera. And that's my internal camera, so we'll hit the button here. And let's see what it looks like. Right now I got nothing. I got nothing. Why is that? Oh, I think I went on the wrong thing. Here we go. All right, front-facing camera. And now we're on the Elgato, but it's not coming up here. So you know what I'm going to do is let me get my NDI scan converter going. And let's see if that will give us a better outcome here. So let me find my NDI software. So NDI is a Nutek's thing, and I use this a lot. And what this will let us do is actually put my webcam out here on the network. And I just loaded the wrong thing. Hang on, let me get the right one up here. But it's, right now it's not giving me an image. So we want to do studio monitor. I think it's screen cap. They keep changing the name of all this stuff, so I think it's called screen capture. And then what we're going to do is we're going to switch this to the webcam, and then I can push the webcam out over the network. Webcam video source, Elgato Facecam. Okay, so now I think I can go over to my NDI desktop capture here, and it should show up on the list. Let's see. Yeah, let's try this one. And let's see what we get. Give me 1 second here, folks. Okay, so we got the camera. Okay, here we go, vMix. Let's see, it's not sending the webcam with the video here. I might pull it out and reinstall it and see if that results in a different outcome here. So give me 1 second, folks. And I'll show you what the camera looks like in case you're curious. There it is on top of my laptop here. So I'm going to just cycle the power on it and see if that might fix it. Eric's Variety Channel says, I never understood why webcams have such short cables. Yeah, this one definitely does not have a short cable. Okay, so, but yeah, it is a big camera. This is definitely a larger camera, but it also has a larger sensor, so we should see a better image coming out of it. All right. Does it support Windows Hello? No, this is really kind of being marketed. Here, I'll zoom in on it so you can get a better view of it. This is being marketed as something for streamers. So this is part of the Elgato line of products. And Elgato, as you know, is, or you may not know, they have been making a lot of gear for streamers to use. So this is in that product line. So it's not designed for authentication or anything other than doing the kinds of things that you would do with a webcam for communicating. And by the way, there's no microphone built into this either. So this is strictly for video. That's all it will do. And what they're saying is that it's delivering, yeah, I'm not getting anything out of this camera at all. What they're saying here is that it's delivering video. I'm going to load up vMix on this machine and see if that might work better. But what they're saying is that it's delivering the video uncompressed to the computer, so you shouldn't have a large amount of latency from your audio coming in. But let's try vMix. And I'm going to bring it in at 30p, and that might be why this isn't working. So let's see what happens. Yeah, so I'm going to switch this to 60, because this is running at a native 60. So that could be why this isn't working. So let's take a look at the camera settings again. We're going to go to Elgato Facecam. We're going to go to 60p. And I'll hit OK. Now what my system should do here is it should adjust the video, but I'm still not getting, I'm not getting anything out of this thing. All right. Well, you know what we're going to do, folks? We're going to take the riskier move. Actually, let me try one more thing. We're going to plug it into a different USB port. So I'm going to plug it into the rear port here, which is one of the faster ones. And let's see if that results in a different outcome. Let's change this again. And we're going to go select Elgato Facecam. And you know what I'm going to do too is sometimes, yeah, so this isn't coming across with compression. Now, one of the things that I have often had to do with these cameras is select the MJPEG compression, because most of them do compress the image. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. It was a USB port. All right, cool. So now what I can do is, actually it looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So now what I can do, that looks really good for a first run here. So I'm going to give you the image on this. Give me 1 second. So I can actually output this with NDI. So bear with me, folks. And we're going to get this going here. So we're going to set my NDI on. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I can bring it in. Actually, I think it looks better than my camera that I'm using for the production here. So we'll have to see what happens there. Roger P says, this is the best webcam. And am I using the software? Not yet. We're going to get to the software in a second. So I'm just going to pull in my vMix output here. And I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to be looking at here. Give me 1 second. Let me go back to this. NDI settings. I think I did. Yeah, I turned it on. Output 1. Okay, there we go. So it's not showing up on here just yet. Give me 1 second. You know what I might do instead then? Okay, that's the wrong one. Let me grab the input again, NDI. Let's turn that off and back on. Okay, there we go. And so I want to see if it shows up on my NDI source list. If not, I've got another option. See if it pops up on this one. It doesn't. I think my NDI got frozen. All right, you know what we're going to do? I will say it looks good. Take my word for it. But I've got a couple other things I can try here. So let me go convert. Okay, so let's try this option here. I'm not sure it's going to work, though. Yeah, it's not working. Okay, so you know what we're going to do? I'm going to plug this into my other PC. The good news is that it is working, so that's a good sign. But what we're going to do here is, because my NDI is not cooperating at the moment, I am going to close it out. And there is no link yet to this because they didn't have a link available for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into my vMix PC here. And hopefully this doesn't result in an issue for the stream. If it does, I'll be back in a few minutes. And I'm going to mount the camera up on my monitor here. I think it's shooting over my head at the moment, but let me go and configure this here. Elgato Facecam. Okay, and here we go. Okay, perfect. So I got a little bit of headroom. Let me get it adjusted down a little bit. Sorry for the mess, everybody. It's been a little crazy. Oh, it just froze up on me. So there you go. Hang on. I don't think this is the fault of the camera. I think it's the fault of the operator. And hopefully my stream isn't getting messed up here either. So let's see. I'm going to bring it in at its native frame rate. And then we'll install the software on the computer and see if we can get things working better. Okay, there we go. All right. That should hold. So now I'm going to just move it, tilt it down a little bit. It does have a pretty good range here. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick recording. And if my audio is, it just froze up again. It looks like vMix doesn't like this. So I'm going to reboot some stuff here. It could also be that vMix is having trouble on my computer here. That could also be part of the problem. All right, so now vMix is kind of reset. So let's plug this thing back in. And let's see if I can get some kind of image out of this camera. See, if someone's going to find a problem, it's going to be me. And generally, it will happen while you're watching what I do here. And in fairness to Elgato, this is likely user error, my error, not me, or not you, or not whatever. All right, so we'll put it back on the laptop here. We're going to take it from the top, and I'm going to go and do this NDI capture thing again. And there could very well be a firmware update that I have to install, so I'll check on that also. Because sometimes they push down a firmware update. So let's go back to the NDI tools. We'll go back to screen capture. And I'm going to make sure that I can send the camera's output. Okay, we're selected. Okay, perfect. Okay. So now, and it could just be, I think, because I'm doing 30p, but usually vMix is pretty good at going from 60 down to 30. So we'll see if it picks it up now. So give it a second here. Here's the Elgato Facecam. And it's lighting up. And now it's got an image. Cool. Now let's see how long this goes on for. Now this is, and I'm going to be fair here because I'm bringing this in over NDI, so the audio is going to be a bit off. So I think that's going to be a problem a little bit because, yeah, this is all NDI delay. So I think what I might do is just record some video and like merge it in later. But it looks good. The image quality is really nice. In fact, I almost think the quality is better than it is on my camera that I use down here. So I think it looks pretty good. Now let's see how close I can get something to it here. Let's see if it'll focus in on. So there is like a fixed focus on this. So if you're doing like macro stuff, yeah, so you got to pull it back out a little bit. Yeah, we're going to get to the software in a few minutes, everybody. So we're going to check out that software in a minute here. So there you go. All right, so I think what I might do is just record some B-roll of me kind of showing the camera off here. So because my audio is going to be a bit off. So I think what I'll do is I'll maybe just talk and just see what it looks like when I play it back. Let's try that. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's the camera, the output of it at least. I haven't done anything with the software yet. We're going to do that in the full review, but it looks great. My audio is probably off a little bit because of the way I'm bringing the video into my video system at the moment, so don't judge the audio lip sync here. We're just looking at the quality of the video right now, but it looks pretty good. I'm staying in focus. It's got a nice image to it just out of the box, and we'll be doing a little bit more with this in the very near future. So thanks for tuning in for this unboxing, and we'll have more on this in a couple of days with a full review. So stay tuned, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, so now the unboxing video is shot. So I've got that to run on here, and I definitely want to check it out real quick and see how that came out. But the quality's nice. It shows all of my gray hair and my stubble. I don't know if that makes me look more manly or not, but it looks good. And again, this is just like with no tweaking. And you know it should look that good for the price, right? So let me just do some logging of clips here. And 3, video quality. All right, so let me check out the video quality part here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's the camera, the output of it at least. I haven't done anything with the software yet. We're going to do that in the full review, but it looks great. My audio is probably off a little bit because of the way I'm bringing the video into my video system at the moment, so don't judge the audio lip sync here. We're just looking at the quality of the video right now, but it looks pretty good. I'm staying in focus. It's got a nice image to it just out of the box, and we'll be doing a little bit more with this in the very near future. So thanks for tuning in for this unboxing, and we'll have more on this in a couple of days with a full review. So stay tuned, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. Okay, I think I can live with that. Yeah, lip sync wasn't bad, and we're bringing it in. So what I'm doing here is I'm bringing the video in over NDI. I just knocked my computer off the network here, sorry. I'm bringing the video in over NDI. So that's presenting some synchronization issues. But I do want to troubleshoot what I was experiencing with vMix on this desktop computer, because this is what I use for my streaming. So I have a feeling that we might want to use the software to switch this camera into 30p mode. That might help. But I'll give you some other views of the camera here, so maybe we can find some detail to focus in on. So again, we are transmitting from the computer over NDI, but this will give you a sense. So you can't get like macro with this because it's got kind of like a fixed focus, but it looks nice and sharp. And right now it's on auto. So, all right, so we're going to play around a little bit with the software. And give me 1 second. I want to say hello to some people and respond to some questions, and then we'll do a little bit more with this thing. So right now I don't have it like set up in the ideal configuration because we're having some vMix issues. So we will figure it out. All right. Richard Maxey says it looks great in, here, I'll pull up some of your questions here. Looks great in 240p on his PS3. Spike Blighty says the default color gamma looks good. LG says the YouTube changed the resolution on him. That's funny. Great. I'm just looking through some of these things here. Sim Architect says, damn, I need to wear some makeup. Yeah, you know what's funny? A friend of mine, my friend Goldie, who went with me to CES, actually bought me some powder. I don't use it, but I get kind of a shiny head sometimes, so I usually like wipe myself down before I start. But I do have some powder in the other room, which I haven't used yet, but I will need to work on that. Spike Blighty wants to know, can you adjust NDI? Yeah, so what I could do is I could delay the audio coming into vMix. And so what's happening is my audio is coming in from this mic through this camera into vMix, and then this was firing in over NDI. So we're probably looking at about a frame of sync delay on it. So that's why we had that. Now I have a link on my computer to the software, so I've got to grab that real quick because it's not up on their website yet. They sent me all this stuff earlier. Let me just check my email real quick. Somebody's asking me in my email if I thought about my retirement goals. I haven't even thought about what I'm having for dinner yet. I have no idea. Okay, so let me go and find my link to the software. So there's like a whole reviewer's guide. One of the things that I like about some of these brands when they do stuff is that they actually send out these reviewer guides. And you can look at these two different ways. The reviewer guide you could look at as they're trying to tell you what to review, but I actually see it differently because it gives me some focal points, if you will, especially because we're reviewing a camera, right? It gives me some focal points on what the product can do and whether or not it can meet those expectations. And a lot of times too, it works as almost a partial, not a full, but a partial to-do list of things that I should cover in the review that I do. Now granted, they want to see certain things covered, which is why they make these things, but it's helpful because it does give you some sense as to what they're looking for. Okay, so, or what you should be looking for. So now I'm going to close out my email here. Yeah, it doesn't look like this is up on Amazon yet. Let me just double check and see. Elgato Facecam. Not yet. It's coming soon. Okay, so we'll come back to it. All right, so now I have the software up, and I'm going to add another NDI connection to my computer that's on the desk here. And hopefully that comes up. Let's see. There we go. Okay, perfect. So we are going to go over to our Facecam thing here. Now it says my video preview is occupied, likely because we're using the camera. So I think if I turn this off, that will, all right, so I got to disable the webcam part of this other thing. So give me a second here. So it looks like if you are using the camera with something else, that will impact things. All right, so I just turned off my NDI software. There we go. Okay, so now we've got the camera on screen here. Probably should have started with their software because it seems to work great. Now, what you're not seeing here, because I only stream out at 30p, is that it is super smooth because it's running right now at 1080p 60. So that's interesting to me. Okay, so now we have a couple of things here. So you have a zoom, but this is a digital zoom, so your native resolution here is 1x, right? So that's the native, and then when you close in, it's going to lose detail. I need a haircut. I'm getting a haircut next week, but I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to continue onward here. Now these are all the default settings, and right now it is set at, let's see, status LED, restore. Okay, you can restore the factory defaults also. Because apparently there was some way to set manual versus auto. And then you can set different resolutions. So we can go, I need to make some notes here. Let's make some notes here because I want to come back to this. Because you can actually set what the camera runs at, which is great because a lot of webcams, right, when you get a webcam, it usually just defaults to one resolution only and then you're done. So that's a good sign. So this is Elgato Facecam. I'm setting up my Google Doc here. And if you have questions as I'm playing with this thing, let me know. All right, so we're going to create that. Okay, so first things first. We have, let me see if I have some comments here to answer. Yeah, we're going to change the exposure, everything. We're going to change everything here. So right now it's on automatic. Hang on a second, everybody. Right now it's on automatic. And what you can do is turn that off. So currently it's running at 100 ISO because I have my studio lights on. But it will tell you what ISO it is at. Now if I turn this off, you can see now it's just like blown out. And it looks like it goes from that 100 ISO to, oh, maybe it wasn't running at 100. So you can see you can adjust the sensitivity of the sensor. Now, when you're in low light, you would think, oh, I can just crank this to 11 or 6400. But when you do that, you will lose detail. You'll see more noise. So you want to, in my opinion, I think you want to try to light for the lowest, actually it's not in my opinion, it's the truth. You want to light for the lowest setting you can get on the ISO. And it looks like, let's turn it back on automatic. So on automatic mode here, it looks like it must be adjusting, because it says it's running at 100, but if I go back to 100 here, it's darker, so I'm guessing it's probably adjusting the shutter speed to find a sweet spot. But if you don't want your image changing, turn off the automatic exposure. And you've probably seen this if you've got like a backlit window and the camera like gets confused as to what it should be looking at, you kind of go in and out. So if you leave it on manual here, this will never change. So if I were to turn my lights off, long story, but when I had to reset my router, all of my smart plugs are off the thing here. So I just turned off the studio lights, but it didn't change the exposure. Now I could turn it on auto, it'll try to adjust. So it's not doing a bad job. So you've got that, which is pretty cool. And the software is up on the Elgato site now. Great, excellent. Yeah, so I just grabbed this from the link they sent me earlier. You got white balance here too, so here, let me turn this back on auto. Let me turn my studio light back on too, that'll help. All right, so let's say I want to warm it up a bit. I can make it super warm or super cold. And if you have automatic, obviously, it'll tune for what it thinks is the best setting. So that's nice. Now this is important down here. This is the anti-flicker. Oh, you can't see my mouse, can you? Hang on a second. Let me get my mouse pointer thing going. The anti-flicker, turn the mouse pointer on. There we go. There we go. Now you can see it. The anti-flicker is important if you're in a room with LED lights. And this was something we found when we went to Europe. So when I went to IFA in Europe, they're all at 50 hertz. So my cameras were kind of tuned for 60 hertz. So I was seeing a lot of light flashing from the LED lights because they were running at a different frequency. So if I were to see that, how it's flickering, so that will adjust for any LED lights that you have in the room. So there you go there. And it's pretty simple. It's not complicated. And you'll note there's a save button up here. And what that will do is save the settings to the flash hardware on the camera. So that is pretty cool. And let me go back to our stream here. So yeah, I mean, it's not much to it, but it's there. And you have some contrast adjustments and saturation here, so I can make it more contrasty or a little less contrasty. If you want to go black and white, you can do that. Here, check it out. Black and white, or super saturated, or somewhere in between. And you know, your display is going to make a difference here too. This is when you get into like sRGB and color matching and everything. So, but I will say, I think it actually looks better than my camcorders do in here. I've actually been contemplating getting a new camera, getting a whole bunch of new cameras, but getting a new camera for this one that looks at me. So that's next on the agenda, is to look at a new camera there. You also have different metering for the automatic exposure. So right now it's center weighted, basically meaning anything in the middle is what it's going to look for. So if you move to the side, you might see it kind of going off track. Average will look at the whole room. And I'm an automatic guy, I'll have to tell you. Like, I like to leave settings automatically on most of my stuff, although exposure is something that I don't typically leave automatic, because you want to have like some control over that. So there you go. And then if you go below 30 here, so if we click that, I think it runs at 30 frames per second. Yeah, you can see it kind of slowing down there. And I'm leaving noise reduction off. They recommended to leave that off for the best results. And I'm going to restore factory settings here real quick, get back to normal, and there you go. But again, you can save the settings to the device itself, so you don't have to carry the software around with you all the time. But it looks good, it looks sharp. It looks really nice at 60p. There's no stabilization stuff in it, so you want to, you know, I would say you want to lock it down on a tripod, or if you mount it, put it on something that if you're moving the desk around, it's not going to wobble too much. But it's good. This is definitely one of the nicer webcams I've looked at. And you're paying a premium for that too. You know, it's a $200 webcam. All right. Let me go through the questions here. Lou Bear is here. Hello. Let's say hello to some folks as we keep looking at things here. I'm going to answer some of your questions. Sim Architect saying, what it would look like with reasonable amount of lights instead. You know what I'll do is I will turn off all of my studio lights and just leave the overhead lights on. And we'll take a look at it. Now let's leave it on full auto. So we'll go from there. Lou Bear wants to know, do I make more money if I watch on YouTube or Amazon? It doesn't really matter. I don't, you know, I go in both places because for me, it's not about making money. I don't want you all to think that I'm here to extract money from all of you. So please don't think that. If you go to Amazon, it's an affiliate thing, so we get a cut of anything that you buy after you're clicking over. So you know, the Amazon thing from a monetary perspective sometimes does better depending on what's going on or what we're looking at. But like I said, I think you should watch where you would like to watch the most. And it's fine, because I think if you're happy, the channel succeeds and grows. That's how I look at it. And my recent live streams, by the way, yeah, watch on both. There you go, Sim Architect, that's it. But the recent live streams are on the main page of the YouTube channel. So I have them there, and they are on, here, I'll show you where they're at. So if you go to the main channel page, they are right here. And I just updated the playlist. So I have a playlist that kind of runs in here. I usually do these all as unlisted videos, because I found that subscribers don't always like getting these live streams with all the dead air and everything that goes into it. It's a very different type of content. So I usually just put them on the front page of the channel. And then if you go to my Lon.TV/live streams link, you'll go to the Amazon page. And I actually think the Amazon interface for the kinds of streams that we do works a little better, because it puts the products front and center so people can see what they're looking at. So that's why I just do it that way. I've got some followers here I want to thank on Amazon. Poppin QA Al81, Perna, and Super Tiger. I thank everybody for following me over on Amazon. Much appreciated. All right, let's take a look at some other questions here. Yeah, tab with both. Yeah, run me everywhere you can. Let's bring those views up. Yeah, Amazon has no ads. So no matter when you're looking at my stuff on Amazon, there is never an ad on the live stream or in the videos themselves. And additionally, if I had an ad that was like embedded, like one that I was doing, you know, like this is brought to you by this 12-year-old SD card, I would have to remove that for the Amazon version of the video. So there's never an ad on Amazon, even my own embedded ads right now. So the revenue stream comes from people buying products and the affiliate stuff. Roger P wants to know, will I get the Wave XLR also? You know, I just heard about that. It looks interesting. I'm probably going to get one, because I actually need a USB interface, so I'm going to pick it up. So yeah, I will be ordering one and getting one in. Let's see. Yeah, so we're going to turn off the studio lights here in a minute. Hey, Brian Parker's here. Brian Parker is the keeper of the Discord, so we're trying to get that going. I got a few more people that popped in, Lon.TV/Discord, and I have to like condition myself to go in and check it every once in a while too. Salute Tech wants to know, is this better than the Logi Capture? I think this is a different audience for this. Here, I'll pull this back up again here. See if I can maximize it. This is a slightly different audience, because this is being geared towards streamers. So it's really about getting all of your manual settings dialed in. But while I got this up, let me turn off all the lights, and let's see what it looks like here. So we're going to turn off the overhead lights, and we're going to turn off my front-facing studio light. And I think I still have it on auto here. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. So this is just with my overhead lights on. And I could turn off the overhead lights. Why don't we do that real quick and just make it, you know, this is like my basement. I have windows down here, but there's not a lot of light. So let's turn them off. Oh, now it's really dark. I'm going to probably trip and fall over something here. So let's see how this looks now. And it looks like it's still like getting an image. It's noisy as all heck, but it's doing its best. So let's go into manual here and see what we can do. So we'll crank it up to 6400, and we'll reduce. Yeah, actually, it's, you know, just from the screen light, it's pretty good. So now if I turn on noise reduction, whoa. Now that's all like software based, but it is dark in here. So that's pretty good, right? I mean, it definitely softens the image up. So here you can see, so it's going to soften things. So if you have good light, you don't want to use the noise reduction. But yeah, this is pretty good. And I can go, ooh, I can even go up to a lower frame rate. Let's do, yeah, I don't want to do 16. Let's see if we can get like 64 so we kind of maintain sync with the 1080p. So for 60 FPS, this is about the best you're going to do. Now it looks like, though, there is a dead pixel or two. See that right? You can't see it, right over my head? Look at my hair. Yeah, it's a dead pixel because it's showing up on the NDI stream also. So now I'm going to like see that forever. So let's turn the, there's a couple of them actually. See that? There's two more over here. Maybe they're UAPs. Maybe those UFOs are coming to my room here. So I don't know if that's a dead pixel or what, but we know what we're going to do. We're going to turn the lights back on. Let's see what happens when we turn on the noise reduction first. Oh, so they go away with the noise reduction. Yeah, I could. Let's turn the lights back on and see what we get now with the lights on. Ugh. But we'll have to do all sorts of tests. And actually, your screen might end up having enough, right? It may have enough light to give you something, right? All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm not seeing that pixel now. So it might just be an artifact of the low light or the image processing. So, but this is like your standard room. So there's no light on me. And let's see if we can take another reading here. Now it says it's running at 213 with average room lighting. And you can see how it softens it up. It actually makes your skin look smoother, but you lose a lot of sharpness. It may be hard to see on the stream here. So pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Now here's my other camera, just to give you an idea as to like the lighting conditions right now. So it looks good. And that's why, you know, when you have a camera with a big sensor, it makes a big difference. So let's turn the studio lights back on again here. Ugh. And there you go. So yeah. And like I said, we're only streaming at 30 out to you right now, so 60 looks great on this computer. I'm pretty impressed with this. And what does this do? This is a... Oh, you can take pictures with this too. Can it record video? Let's see. Now what I could do... Oh, it does snapshots. Oh, I see. So I can hit this button here and take a snapshot. Now what I could also do is turn this down to 1080p 30. And that will match. Yeah, it doesn't come over well on my NDI connection here, but partly because it's a long story. But it looks good. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this camera. More than I thought I would be. So yeah, so when it was super dark in here, just to answer your question, this was no ceiling lights on at all. And so I will replicate, actually I probably have the B-roll now from the stream. I will replicate that during the live stream. We definitely need to do some low light stuff with it. So it's going to be noisy as all heck, right? But it works, and you can actually pull an image out of it. So that's pretty good. All right, let me just go and edit one thing on my list here, low lights. Yeah, so I'll probably like take it around parts of the house and just do like different kind of scenarios, but it was good. And the Sim Architect likes that. Yeah, so, and that's the thing is that, you know, a lot of times, you know, not ideal, but your display, if you've got, you know, what you could do even is put, you know, take it out of dark mode, for example, because your display will project light onto your face. In fact, when you take selfies now with most smartphone cameras, it will actually do that. It'll just make a flash of white on the display to give it a little bit more light to play with. And it will vary based on how bright your computer's display is. So I've got one of these fancy gaming laptops. This is a Lenovo Y740 that I bought a while ago. It's my gaming, it's actually more of a production. I bought it as a gaming computer and I use it just for production now because it's so powerful for real-time video. But it works pretty nicely. And JP says it looks better. Yeah, that noise reduction is pretty aggressive, right? But it does look pretty good if you're really stuck in a poorly lit scenario. And you know, the other thing with the noise reduction is that don't forget that in many cases, like if you're doing the green screen thing, you're going to shrink your image down anyhow. So a lot of the flaws that you might introduce with the noise reduction may not be there for the viewer as much. So, but yeah, it's definitely going to be grainy. This is, and any camera will be grainy with low light. You know, so that's why you always want to light your set. And I am not this world's gift to lighting technique, so I will not be advising any of you on lighting. But there are lighting kits that Elgato sells and others that I think would work out pretty well. But I'm pretty happy with this. Mark Smith wants to know about Logitechs. Yeah, I'm starting to see the Logitechs pop up again. You know, this was like a big supply constraint issue on a couple of levels because you had the electronics issue, right? But of course, with the pandemic, everybody needed a webcam, so you just couldn't get one for a while. But now I'm seeing a lot more, and I think this is like every other industry. It's like there's feast or famine, no in between. So we're going to see a lot of supply and cheap stuff, for sure. Hans wants to know, is the light for sale? I know that Elgato makes a key light, as Roger P. is pointing out here on the Amazon chat. So there are some lights. I don't have experience with their lights. I'm just using, so what I've got a mix of stuff. I have these Dracast lights above me. I could probably show you what they look like because I have a camera that can show you. So let me pull up my view here. So I have these Dracast lights above, and those shine down on the product that we're reviewing on the desk. And then I've got this like cheapo light with a crappy thing on the side to it to soften it. So I'm probably going to update that light when it goes. But I just have those two lights right now. And then I've got some like overhead lights that do some stuff for me. But at some point, I really want to like, see, here's what I'm struggling with. If I can just impart upon you my therapy session, is that I kind of like my set. I think it looks different than other people's sets. Some people hate it, other people like it. But I think there's like I don't like trends and styles, you know what I mean? Like, look at me, I wear the same thing that I've worn for my whole life. So I don't want to look like every other channel. And I'm not criticizing people that have a certain look that looks like others because that's what works for them, that's great. But for me, I think, you know, like being surrounded by my midlife crisis, I think speaks to people in a way that works. So you know, that's why I want to stick with my current set, but I want to light it better. I want to get a camera that I can, because my cameras now are just very flat. I don't have a lot of depth to the shot. So for example, I would like to do, you know, I would like my camera to look a little more modern looking, you know, where we have a little bit of bokeh on the background, and I'd probably bring in a little backlighting to kind of separate me out from that a little bit more. So like, those are the kinds of things I'm looking at. And then, you know, over time, kind of rotate out some of the old junk behind me there. So it's, that's what I'm kind of aiming for here. And Sim Architect, don't worry about messaging too much. It's fine. It is fine. So yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad camera. Now you could buy, you know, professional cameras. You know, like PTZ Optics has some nice web cameras. We looked at one recently from them. This one, I think, you know what I think makes this one work better for me is that the software is very intuitive. And that's not something I've said about Elgato's software in the past. Because I found their software sometimes to be really clunky and not very well optimized, but this is very simple. You got contrast, saturation, sharpness, you got exposure, you got white balance, you can turn off your noise reduction or turn it back on. You know what I mean? It's not overly complicated. And I like that they built in the settings so that you can save them to the camera. So you put them on the camera, it's got a flash storage on it, and it's good. And George says, weird how the main camera seems less color accurate. Yeah, this is probably all my fault based on how I set it. So I am not good at any of this stuff. Like, I'm good at making the stream work stuff. I'm somewhat good at talking. And I think I'm okay at actually reviewing products every once in a while, but I'm not good at the art side of this. For me, it's like, okay, it's good enough, go. So I need to have somebody come in. Chris Ainsley says, it looks huge, and you are correct. It is big, and you know what? It's big because it's got a big sensor on it, so that's why it's so big. But it's not that heavy, so it's not dragging my thing down with it. And I've got another here. Let me show you what my other one is, because this is the one that PTZ Optics sent me a little while back. And this one is kind of neat. I have two of them. Here, I'll show you this one. So this is another similar camera near the price range. So this one is called the Huddle Cam. And this is actually a 4K camera, so you can do a little more digital zooming with it. It only does 30 frames per second. But what's cool about this one is that it works over NDI, so once it can be powered over the network. So when I plug it into my PoE switch, it just comes up. So it's nice. It's got a big sensor on it also. But you have these big cameras when you have the big sensors. But this is a lot lighter. So when I put this on like my MacBook, the thing flops over because it's so heavy. So this one is not, the weight of it is not significant. So it weighs a little bit more probably than a Logitech, but it's not that heavy. And Roger P is making some suggestions on cameras. A Panasonic GH. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to some folks and ask about it because I want a camera. So I don't record onto the camera itself. I record. So basically, when I do a video, my production flow here, and I've been doing this since I started like 8 years ago. I do my videos like I'm live streaming. So the software vMix that I use there's no difference in configuration between a live stream and a recording, other than the fact that I'm streaming on one and recording on another. And as you saw, I actually record video I record while I stream, right? So it's exactly the same workflow. So I need something that can, export at HD, can do a clean HDMI out, and I want something that'll do 4K. Because that's where I want to go next with my setup here. I got to probably upgrade the GPU on the vMix system. So there you go. Oh, this is a good question. How does it work with a green screen? Well, I have a green screen. Unfortunately, do I have a way to test the green screen? Let's take a look. So I also, speaking of Elgato, I bought their green screen a while back. So I could probably do a quick vMix demo with this thing. Let me get... I got a lot of junk back here. I got to clean this place up. It's a mess. So we can just do the Elgato green screen here, and we'll load it up and see how it works. And then I got to run in a minute. So let me go pull up. So let me close out the settings here. We're just going to leave it on auto. And we're going to load up my vMix software here. And we'll see if I can get me and the camera running here. So we're going to add an input. We're going to go to camera. We're going to select the Elgato Facecam. And there we go. Now I've got to adjust this a little bit here. Now this is going to be a little tricky because we don't have a lot of room here to play with, but we've got enough. And the green screen is not very well lit at this angle, but we'll make it work. So I'm going to go to color key, and we're going to select the green screen here. Now this is an area where you're going to want to have your camera on that fixed exposure. All right, so there we go. I think we're mostly keyed out there. This is vMix, by the way. This is the software that I use for all of my streaming and stuff. Now you can see here that everything else is around me because we don't have anything else green in the shot. So what I can do also here is layers position, and I can just crop some stuff out of here. Oops. And we'll do that, and then we'll do this, And so I can't move my arms very far because I'll be losing, losing everything. And we'll go from the top here. Okay, then I can move myself around too, isn't that? Like I'm like a floating head. Woo! Okay, so now we've got that. And then I can put myself in the background of something else. So let's add like we can do something like this. We'll go and pull up a web browser, and we'll project myself onto the back of my web page here. Let's see if this will work. All right, here we go. So now, if I take this live and then do this, boom, and that's the webcam doing the green screen. It's a pretty clean key. Here, let me pull up, see if I can pull this into my other system here. NDI. Yeah, for whatever reason, here it's vMix output 1. Okay, now I've got it. Let's see, there we go. So that's your key. Pretty good, right? That is super clean. That looks really good. There's a little bit of fuzziness, but I think the key is pretty good. So that's the green screen. And just to bring this up as a question again, how does it work with the green screen? There you go. So what I can do also here is, let me create a virtual input. And I'll show you what it looks like on both fronts here. So we're going to, let's go back to general. I'm going to create a virtual input. And then I'm going to have this virtual input just be the raw output of the camera. So we're going to turn off the color key. And we're just going to reset the position to defaults here, reset all. So what I'll do here is give you, so this is, that's what it looks like. And then here, I'll make a new, I'll just layer this on here. So layers, layer 1 will be that. Okay, boom. So then I can, that's not bad for like, you know, and this is vMix. vMix is really good at this kind of stuff. And you'll get a better feel for that here. So I can go, boop, green. Yeah, that looks sharp. I think I might record this as some B-roll here. So let's hit some record. Then I'll have to set it up again later. Looks good. Nice and clean. Perfect. Yeah, I like it. So there you go. And that is vMix on my computer here. And I love vMix. vMix is like the most, as all of you know, I was using the, that by the way is the Elgato green screen. And I found it to be really helpful. I've done a couple of Zoom calls where, you know, it didn't work to have the YouTube set in the background, so I just pull that thing up. And then you don't have to do those Zoom backgrounds. You can just run it through vMix, yada, yada, and do the whole thing there. We got some Amazon folks to say hello to. Mike.TV is here. What's good? We're just checking out the Elgato Facecam. It seems to be pretty nice. Evelyn is here from Michigan. Roger P says, Elgato sells the CamLink capture card for cameras. Yes, so that's the, and Roger just put a link up to the Elgato CamLink 4K. And I don't have the means of showing this to you on the screen right at this very moment in time, but I own one. In fact, I use it quite a bit. And for a while, so what happened was I was trialing vMix last year to see if it was going to work for me. And I was running it on this laptop with the CamLink bringing in my main camera, and it worked flawlessly. It worked really nice. The other thing that I like about the CamLink is that I found that you can buy those really cheap USB capture adapters, but they don't have the timings down, and so you'll have some frame issues that may or may not be visible to your audience, but you don't want things falling out of sync, and occasionally they fall out of sync with vMix at least. And so if you've got some kind of mission critical stream going on, I would be careful about that. Let me find some more questions here. I was trying to go through. I'm missing a whole bunch of questions. JP wants to know, can I take a snapshot? Yes, I did take a snapshot. So let me pull it up on the computer screen here, because I did save it on my desktop. So let me see where I put it. Camera hub, here we go. Here, I'll give you a view of that. So this is the snapshot I took a little bit earlier. Let me go full screen with it so you can see. How do we do full screen? I'm a Mac guy. What do I know? Here, full screen. So it's pretty good. And granted, this is a 1080p image. So that's all you get is 1080p. So you know, if you crop and zoom, it'll be what it is. But not bad. Not bad. Okay. So what else we got here? Chris loves the set. Thank you. Yeah, I like the set too. So I'm not changing the set anytime soon. And very good point. What you say matters. It does. And George, yeah, I think there's something like that makes the whole brand work with this like kind of hack together scenario here. You know, it's funny because when I first started, I was doing this in this spot, but the basement wasn't finished. And I had a green screen that I was using with the original version of the Blackmagic television studio. And it was such a pain to set up. So I bought two of these shelves behind me. I went on Amazon, I said bookshelf, and that was what came up. And it was designed for like CDs and stuff, but it fits everything back there perfectly. So I had like two of those shelves behind me. And I was using like shop lights initially. I honestly, people ask me, what equipment do I need? I'm like, nothing. Just get the cheapest stuff you can to get started, and then figure out from there, you know, what to add on. So that's what you need there. And JP points out correctly that it has fixed focus, so you cannot, you're not going to be able to like zoom in on stuff. It's got a fixed focal length, and there's a sweet spot. I have the dimensions on my reviewer's guide there that I'll find later. Corey says going from the C920 to the Brio is a huge step in video quality. Yeah, I reviewed the Brio. That's a nice camera, the 4K one. Absolutely, it's a very good camera. Yeah, I think if you have the Brio, you're probably going to be fine. Jordan recommends the GH5S, so I'm going to make a note of that one. Yeah, I'm making a list of like cameras that I want to look at. I was also looking at the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. I don't know if that one is one I should look at. What I really want to make, I really want an XLR input also. That's the other thing that I really want to have on the camera. And Jordan, Jordan, thank you very much for that. Actually, Jordan, if you could send me your email address, if you email me at Lon@Lon.TV, I would appreciate any help you can provide, because I am definitely out of my comfort zone on the aesthetics of all of this. Like I said, I get it to a point where I think it looks okay, and then I just start talking. So, but the GH5S. GH5, I'm writing this down right now, Jordan, just before I forget, because I'll lose the chat later. And then a 12 to 35 f2.8. Yeah, that'll give a nice bokeh, won't it? Yeah, that's the only thing is I have to buy a lens, right? So, but I guess those micro 4/3 lenses are much more compatible. I've got like some really nice Nikon lenses, but they're Nikon lenses, not micro 4/3 or whatever that is. So we'll have to figure that out. All right, let me go back to my Amazon chat here. And Roger P has got a link to it on Amazon right now. It's a nice camera. So it's got a clean out. It does 4K. How much is it? Yeah, $1,800. It's got to get a lens for it. Yeah, I've got like a nice, so I have a Nikon 1.4 50 millimeter. I think it's the 1.4. It's the more expensive one. That's the lens I use almost exclusively on my Nikon. I haven't taken a lot of still photos lately. But I am going to get there. I really want to start taking stills again. It's just, you know what it is? My phone, my smartphone, my iPhone is good enough. So it's always around, so I'm taking pictures with that. Chris Allegretta suggests maybe I put a disco ball in. That might be kind of fun. We could auction off some of the stuff and get rid of it. That might be a good idea. I've got a big pile of stuff I got to get rid of. Black and White Band says, I just ordered one. What cable should I purchase? I have a PC with Thunderbolt 3. So what I would get is, I think the cable that it comes with is fine if you want to use your USB-A port. If you want to plug it into your Thunderbolt port, you just need a USB Type-C cable. And what I would look for, because I don't think it's required, but I would look for, just because the quality is going to be better, look for a USB-C 10 gigabit per second cable. You don't need power delivery or anything else like that. It's just using USB 5 volts, so that's the one I would look for. Travis is asking if I play. I have not played with the AI green screen, and I need to do that because I have an NVIDIA GPU on my broadcast machine, so I can do all of that stuff. But I just haven't gotten around to playing with it. And you know, vMix does such a good job with it. You saw just now what it did, right? That I haven't really felt like I need to do more, but I should play around with it. And Ed's saying that it's good at reducing spill. Yes, the spill is the big thing that you always deal with green screens, so I gotta play with that. Does it add any latency? That's the question. That's the question. But yeah, this has been good. So I'm going to probably shoot the review tomorrow. And what I love about this kind of product is there is not much to it. It is simple, you know. So I'm just going to check on Amazon and see if it's up here yet, because I am not seeing it. Let me sort by price here, because it is the more expensive. Yeah, it's not up on Amazon yet. So as soon as it is, I will let you all know. Let's go to the Elgato. So Elgato has a page. I'm scrolling through their page here to see if it's up here yet, but it doesn't look like it. Because sometimes they list things and then it takes a while for the Amazon search engine to get going. Yeah, I don't see it yet. But it's a good webcam. If you're doing like, if you're a streamer or trying to get into streaming and you want a camera that's on you that looks good, this is a good one. It's smaller than your SLR would be. It frees up it gives you an additional camera to play with. So yeah, I'm not seeing it here yet. Let me go to their store and see if they put it up there yet. But they've been doing good, kind of really becoming the supplier of live streamers, right? Like they've got a diverse product line, and one of the things that I think they have as an advantage. I'm just trying to find their store. They had like this whole fancy store on here. One of the things that they have as an advantage, here it is that they're a pretty big company, so they have the ability to source this stuff in ways that other companies can't. And it also provides you with, some degree of customer support that you may not get from a no-name brand. Yeah, I don't see it available on Amazon just yet. So, but I think you can get it on their site. All right. Mark wants to see some dancing lawns on here. All right, let me go back to I missed a whole bunch of chats here. Yeah, so this is not yet on Amazon, but it will be soon. David Bound has a question. Did I at some point in the past do a review of an item that allows devices like a GoPro to connect to a computer as a webcam? Yes, and actually what we just talked about, which was the Elgato Cam Link will do that. That is one of their products. I think I have it listed on the Amazon thing right now. Yes. Now that one's $139, so it might be a little pricey, but it's the best one you'll get in that category. But then I've got a bunch of these little guys. Let me see if I can find where I put them. Yeah, so then like they also have like these USB 2.0 capture things, and these actually work pretty well, believe it or not. I did a video about these things. They're a dime a dozen. They're like 12, 15 bucks. But they'll last as long as they last. The quality isn't great, but that's an option. But if you want the best, the Camlink is good. Another one, equally expensive, is the Magwell. The Magwell's nice because it does compression. So if you've got a lower powered PC that you're plugging it into, this will reduce the load on the processor. So I use these things for different reasons depending on what's going on. I haven't used the Magwell as much anymore just because all of my computers now are powerful enough to handle the Camlink. Dom wants to know, is there Mac software? Yes, there is a Mac version of their software. So it's exactly the same as the Windows one. And really what it is just a configuration thing. They're not drivers. This is a UVC camera. So it works just over that standard protocol. So the software is not so much a driver as it is a configuration dial, right? Scott Mills volunteers for a nonprofit, and they're trying to find a wireless webcam that we can have in the room for membership meetings to capture the general audience. You might. That's where like something like this thing, this Huddle Cam, comes into play, because this connects over NDI. So it's not wireless, but you can plug it into a network jack, and then you can put it anywhere in the building. And you can bring it in that way. And they have software that converts the NDI signal to a virtual webcam. So that would be something to look at. A little expensive. The other one would be the live stream camera. Why does it escape me at the moment? You know what I'm talking about. Somebody's going to remind you in the chat. What is the name of that camera now? Mevo, the Mevo camera. That's another one. That's wireless. It has an NDI output option. It also can work without being plugged in because it has a battery built in. But you have to do the NDI to get it to be seen as a webcam. But that's a good one. Roger P. wants to know, what's my opinion of OBS over vMix? So I went with vMix because I have friends that work in professional broadcasting, and that's the software that they use. It feels more stable to me. There's support behind it. It's a lot more expensive because OBS is free and vMix costs money. But for me, I need stability more than anything else because I don't want to futz around with stuff. So vMix I found to be probably the most, I think it's actually the most amazing piece of Windows software I've ever used because it is so well optimized. And typically, like all the different stuff that I do in the course of a stream like I'm doing right now is maybe using 5 or 8% of my computer's resources, and that's with a 1080 GPU, an older GPU. So it's, I really like vMix a lot. And it just, the stability is there. It feels like, I actually like it more than my TriCaster that I was using before. Bob Brown is here saying hi, hello. And yep, this is the Elgato webcam today. This is the Elgato Facecam. Mark Smith says, what's the link for those adapters? If you go on Amazon and just search for USB HDMI adapter, you're going to see a million of them because they're from all these different companies. But check them out. And George says, if I remember correctly, yes, so Corsair owns Elgato. So they are the same company. That is true. So there you go. All right. Well, everybody, I am going to depart now because the family's coming home soon and I've got to get ready for dinner time. But I think I've got enough to work on my review of this tomorrow. So I'm excited to get that done. And that's why I like doing these live streams with all of you because I get questions that I sometimes don't think about. So that was great to have you all in here helping me out today. And is there any reliable model, by the way? So if you want reliability, you get a Magwell or an Elgato Cam Link. Those will be reliable, and they will work better. But they're more expensive. So you gotta weigh that on that front. Travis has put a Asus 10 gigabit NIC in his PC. I've got one in the machine that's driving the stream, and I did that because I've got a lot of stuff like the NDI video takes up a lot. So typically 1080p video coming in over NDI uncompressed is about 100 to 150 megabits per second. So if I've got 2 or 3 cameras going in at the same time, you want to have some extra overhead there. So that's what you got to go with. And yeah, the Steam Deck announced it the same day as the new Stream Deck. Yes, it's confusing. And I thought there was a different name that they were, like it was Steam Buddy or Steam Pal or Steam. It was like some take on the Game Boy, and I thought it was a really clever name, but it looks like they went with the safer one. So there you go. Red Hornet says, one of the strengths of OBS is the plugins that are available. I use it as a backup to vMix when I stream seminars and events for clients. That is true. They do have there's an extensive plugin architecture. And so for doing these chats and stuff, like I'm using vMix Social to bring these in, but there's definitely more robust options on OBS for sure. No question about it. I have found in my experience with OBS that sometimes, like if OBS updates and the plugin doesn't, you get all this issues with compatibility. So yeah, so I've had some issues with it over the years, but I like OBS. I think it's amazing software for the price. You can't beat it. So for starting out, it's awesome, and for a lot of people, it's all they need. And so if it's working for you, great. But for me, I went with vMix just for the stability, and it does some things that I need, especially the NDI is integrated. Like it's just working better for me. But I don't like to pass judgment on others, because if the way I look at it is, if you like your Android phone, I'm happy for you. I'm happy. I have some Android phones too. If you have an iPhone and you like it, great. I don't, you know what I mean? Like there's so much of this stuff where people disparage each other because of what they choose to work with. The way I look at it is, if the tool's working, that's awesome. My preference is vMix, but I appreciate OBS and think it's a good piece of software. In fact, it might make an appearance on the review of this too. So William, we're not actually using this camera right now. So this is coming off my studio camera, but there is no autofocus. And the Sim Architect says OBS Studio is awesome and free. Yeah, it works, it works. So that is it. So I'll give you one more look at the camera here before I take off. If you're curious what it looks like here. So let's pull it back up again, camera hub. And it looks like vMix has got, you know what I'll do? I'll pass it over from vMix again. Here you go. So this is the camera's image. So nice and sharp, but it doesn't autofocus. So if you have, let me find here, I'll show you this pen I got here. So if we go in on it, it won't focus on the pen even if it's centered, because the sweet spot is like there's a certain distance. So if I go in, you can look at I think I just pulled it out, the network out again. So it'll get blurrier as you go out. So there's like basically where I'm sitting right here, this is about, I don't know, 4 feet maybe. Let me look and see what the manual says here. There's a set limit here. Okay, I'm just looking here. 24 millimeter focal length, field of view is 82. Oh, okay. Focus range is 30 to 120 centimeters. So it basically goes from a foot to 47 inches. That's the sweet spot on this one. But it looks good. I think it looks nice. So there you go. And we will have more with this coming up very soon. And yeah, it's all fixed. It's got a 2.8 aperture, I think. 2.4 aperture. Focal length is 24 millimeter if you were looking at a full frame equivalent. And it has a Sony Starvis CMOS sensor. And it weighs 96 grams, or just under 1/4 of a pound. So there you go. And I'm with Cage on this one. Because I think people, here's what gets me, is that people get so worked up over somebody else's product choice, right? And meanwhile, like who's benefiting from all this discussion and all this passion? Not us. It's the company. Like Google must love all the people that love Android so much they hate Apple. I use both. You know, there's things that Android's better for. And there's things that the iPhone, in my opinion, are better for. It's that I pick and choose, you know? And that's it. Yeah, and I use Linux sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use Mac OS. And you know what's funny? Like, for a lot of my day-to-day, I use Mac OS. For the production of this channel, the actual shooting of the video, I use Windows 10. Maybe not Windows 11, depending on my computer situation, but there you go. Here's another good point, by the way, back to the encoder discussion. The ATEM Mini is a great option because then you get a switcher that also works as a encoder. So there you go. Okay. Well, everybody, this was fun. I appreciate it as always. And I will be back again with more stuff. And hopefully this will be up on Amazon soon, so I can put a review up on Amazon. But it's a nice little camera. Doesn't get too hot either. It is big. I shouldn't say little. It is a big camera. But it's looking at you right now. See, it's looking at you through that camera over there. So there you go. Okay. And David makes a very good point. You always want, I agree with you. So I think if you are the one being rivaled, you don't like it, but you're right, it does make everybody better. So, and I'll tell you what, we're lucky we have some choices, not a lot, but some. So it's good. All right. So I will catch you all on the flip side. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And we'll be back again very soon. I see today is Thursday. I got to go drop my car off tomorrow. I think I may not see you Friday, but maybe over the weekend we'll do something. Because I have another one of those retro video game magazines to go through, so we'll have something fun to do. And we'll go from there. And now what I'm going to do, this comes with a little lens cover. So I'm going to put the lens cap on there. Look at that. So, boom. It's got a privacy thing. You don't have to put tape over it. There you go. All right. So everyone, have a good evening, and I will catch you all in the near future. Thanks for watching. Just like my thing says here. See you later.